Service on a special operation to crack down on the menace of indisciplined motor riders.
Public caution not to fall for child beggar scam.
Rainstorm devastates temporary relief camp at Apiate in the western region.
And up to 65% of Africans have had COVID, far more than thought, says the World Health Organization. Good evening and welcome to News Hour right here on GBC News and on GTV. My name is Jonathan Thompson.
I'm Samuel Lacorte. We also stream live on Facebook and on YouTube at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Jonathan Intimdakon will translate the news into sign language.
Now let's jump straight to our story. The President, Nana Akufo-Addo, has awarded outgoing U.S. Ambassador Mrs. Stephanie Sullivan the state honor of Grand Medal, recognizing her outstanding contributions to the socio-economic development of Ghana. Mrs. Sullivan, who was appointed in 2018 as a U.S. ambassador to Ghana, is heading back to Washington after years of a sterling diplomatic career across Africa.
President Akufo-Addo paid glowing tributes to the distinguished diplomat, saying a 4-year stay in Ghana without a doubt stepped up the already good relations between Accra and Washington.
Stephanie S. Sullivan started a diplomatic career as a Peace Corps volunteer in DR Congo and later worked as the Chief of Peace Corps operations for the entire continent of Africa. She joined the Department of State in 1980 and has since been working in different roles in Africa and other parts of the world. Her first ambassadorial duty came in 2013 when she was appointed an ambassador to Congo. In July 2018, Mrs. Sullivan was nominated as the U.S. ambassador to Ghana, and in January 2019, she was fully credited as the U.S. ambassador extraordinaire and plenipotentiary to Ghana. Since her accreditation, Mrs. Sullivan has worked hard to strengthen bilateral relations between Ghana and the United States of America. A major contribution focused on health, trade, and security. On a tour, trade between Accra and Washington doubled, totaling $2.7 billion. She played a major role in increasing the number of American companies and subsidiaries in Ghana. In health, Mrs. Sullivan was key in getting Ghana 9.7 million doses of the COVID-19 vaccines to support government vaccination drive. It was during her period that the Defense Cooperation Agreement between the Ghana Armed Forces and the American counterpart was signed. The Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Madam Shirley Ayekobutri, in a state citation extolled the sterling contribution of Mrs. Sullivan to relations between Accra and Washington.
In recognition of your outstanding contribution to the socio-economic development of the Republic of Ghana and your dedicated disposition as a diplomat, which has helped enhance mutual understanding and cooperation between Ghana and the United States of America, the Republic of Ghana hereby confers on you, Your Excellency Stephanie S. Sullivan, the state honor of Grand Medal, GM Honorary Division.
President Akufo-Addo was grateful to Mrs. Sullivan for her dedication and commitment in strengthening relations between Ghana and the U.S.
During her period as U.S. ambassador here, 2018 to 2022, the enhancement of the already good relations between Ghana and the United States has been evident and visible. Whether in the area of trade or health or agriculture or governance or security, we've witnessed a significant expansion and consolidation of the ties between our two countries. And at the heart of this process has been this indefatigable, consummate professional, the Honorable Stephanie S. Sullivan.
To Mrs. Stephanie Sullivan, the opportunity to contribute to bilateral relations between the two countries is an honor, and to have made contributions to Ghana's social interventions programs gives her great joy.
When I reflect on the past 3+ years, I'm proud of how we invested in people, making a major difference in the lives of thousands of Ghanaians in public health, literacy, clean water, agribusiness, and peace and security.
Mrs. Sullivan, who was accompanied by a deputy who is expected to take over her role, her husband, John, and other staff of the embassy promised to keep Ghana close to her heart on her next duty post.
Now, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, says Ghanaians must have confidence in the Akufo-Addo administration to navigate the nation positively through the president's economic storms, because fundamentally, the MPP has a track record of doing so.
It was a much-anticipated lecture by the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, on the economy, which came about due to the current economic difficulties the country is experiencing. Prices have soared in all sectors, from petroleum products, building materials, food, among others. On the podium, Dr. Bawumia acknowledged the situation in the country and said it is a global situation brought on by COVID-19 and Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Countries and economies throughout the world are experiencing severe challenges following the COVID-19 pandemic and the more recent Russia-Ukraine war. The pandemic, which started early in 2020, resulted in the greatest economic depression since the 1930s, with most countries recording negative growth. Supply chain disruptions and the rising price of oil has resulted in the prices of fuel going up across the globe, with petrol prices doubling in most countries. In fact, in the world today, the highest petroleum prices can be found in countries like Hong Kong, the Netherlands, Zimbabwe, Germany, Israel, and the United Kingdom. Furthermore, ladies and gentlemen, the global average cost of shipping a container has increased from $1,446 in 2019. The global average cost for shipping a container has gone up from $1,446 in December 2019 to $9,789 as at February 2022.
He, however, urged Ghanaians to trust in the government to put measures in place to reduce the harsh impact of these two external factors on Ghanaians, because such was the situation in 2016 before they assumed office and which was turned around.
Prior to the coronavirus pandemic, which has impacted virtually all economies in the world, we stabilized the economy. We reduced inflation. We doubled economic growth in the first 3 years. We reduced the rate of depreciation of the cedi. The average depreciation from 2017 to 2020 was the lowest since 1992.
He said there is lots of hope ahead and Ghanaians must not throw their hands in despair.
We are on the right path with sound policies to enhance growth, fiscal and monetary policy discipline, and by the grace of God, we are bouncing back better and stronger. We will weather the storm. We will turn this tide. We will continue to work tirelessly for the good of this nation. There is no doubt that the future of Ghana is brighter and safer under our economic management.
And reacting to Dr. Bawumia's lecture on Thursday, an associate professor from the University of Ghana Business School Finance Department, Professor Lord Mensah, says Dr. Bawumia made several conflicting statements during the lecture and was of the view that there should have been an opportunity for questions to explain the disparities.
He appreciated the fact that the economy is how you feel in your pocket. But then, he's not saying that we have the money in our pockets already. But then measures being put in place as we speak now. And the belief is in the measures. And then also the various investment they have done, would definitely. The question now comes, over the years. But the question now comes into mind: if you did 1D, 1F, right, and you've had, about 100 and something factories, the factory will create employment. The factory will create, multiplier effect, where people are going to buy and sell, and that continuity effect. But then, would there be a mission that, the economy is in your pocket? That's where I'm coming from. So it looks like, the first statement that was made, the economy is how you feel in your pocket, contradict most of the things that were outlined. And that also brings about inconsistencies in our tax policies. And the tax policies are very, very key for the investor to make a decision.
Away from that, the Chief Justice, Justice Eninyebua, says the partnership between the judiciary and the Ministry of National Security is key to their collective survival. Justice Eninyebua said the judiciary will collaborate with the ministry to successfully implement the new national security strategy document. The Chief Justice was speaking at a sensitization program for justices of the Supreme Court at the Law Court Complex in Accra.
The sensitization program organized by the Ministry of National Security was on the need to reconcile the rules of the judiciary with actors within Ghana's security and intelligence architecture as captured in the national security strategy towards building a safe, secure and just country.
Justice is the foundation upon which the rule of law, equality before the law and fairness of the law are established. Injustice occasioned as a result of the absence of an effective justice delivery system, or delayed justice, or biased justice, is certainly a threat to national security.
The Minister for National Security, Mr. Kandapa, said Ghana's quest to remain a sovereign, free and peaceful democratic state and ensuring the survival, safety and well-being of the citizens that occupy its rightful place among the Committee of Nations as a respected nation is confronted by a number of existing and imminent potential security threats and challenges.
Maintaining peace and order in the country is very, very important. It's absolute. We will not be able to enjoy life in the country unless we have law and order. We cannot have law and order when people do not have belief and respect for the judiciary.
The Chief Justice, Justice Eninyebua, said in the evolving global situation where threats are manifold and diverse, the new national security document is a critical intervention that will ensure the country's security.
While the threats are in a state of constant evolution, one thing remains constant, and that is the fact that the law is one of the major tools that we have to use to combat them. The decisions that are taken by national security officials must be done in the light of what is lawful, and where there are conflicts between the rights of individuals and the security of the state, it is the courtroom that those tensions will be resolved. This is why this interaction is absolutely essential.
The National Security Strategy document, the first of its kind to be introduced into the country, details potential security hurdles Ghana is likely to be confronted with from within and outside the country. The document also shares the preparedness of the government and security agencies in the event of any such security threats. It was launched in June 2021 by President Akufo-Addo and currently before Parliament. When approved, the document is expected to become a working paper for the National Security Ministry and also expected to be improved over time, subject to the changing security challenges. Participating judges were from the higher courts, including the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal and the High Courts.
The Ghana Police Service has set in motion a special operation dubbed Police Action Against Rider Indiscipline to help minimize road accidents and maintain decency on the roads. A special team of police riders with body cams will be stationed around major intersections and at other strategic locations to monitor the activities of motorcyclists. This campaign is to ensure strict compliance to road traffic regulations by motorcyclists.
The initiative, which has multiple components, would be introduced in phases. It said the first component of the operation, which had been rolled out, involved the deployment of teams of police riders who would follow offending riders and arrest them at convenient and safe locations. Such riders would be prosecuted, named and shamed. Indiscipline among motorcycle riders, including the jumping of red traffic lights, the non-wearing of crash helmets and general disregard for road traffic regulations, according to the police, had become the major cause of road traffic accidents in the country. The available data on road traffic accidents show that motorcycles were the leading cause of road accident-related death and the second leading cause of injuries in the country. In a statement issued by the police and signed by the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Kosi Fori, Director General, Public Affairs, the police had recognized the multi-stakeholder responsibility for dealing with the matter and would continue to engage all stakeholders in trying to find a solution to the problem. The statement cautioned the riding public to be self-disciplined and follow traffic regulations.
Moving on, the public is being cautioned not to fall for any child beggar scam. The Deputy Minister for Gender, Women and Social Protection, Madam Lariba Zuwaira Abudu, says her ministry has information that a number of child beggars loitering on the street are part of a trafficking syndicate.
The children are reported to have been trafficked from the Sahelian region by an unnamed woman who drives the children to various streets in Accra to beg for alms every morning, picking them at night to take the monies generated by the children. The Deputy Minister disclosed this during a parliamentary roundtable discussion on human trafficking in Ghana by the Impraiso MP Davis Opoku in collaboration with the International Justice Mission. Mrs. Abudu noted that when the public stops giving, it will cut the income accrued by these children, thereby sending a signal to the traffickers that the business is no longer lucrative. Other members of parliament present shared their views on how disruptive trafficking had become in various constituencies in the country. The International Justice Mission and the Gender Ministry, however, assures the general public about its commitment to drastically reduce human trafficking in Ghana, especially across the Volta Lake. Under the Beggars and Destitute Act 1969, Section 2.1, any person found begging and any person wandering or placing himself in any premises or place for the purposes of begging may be arrested by a police officer without warrant and shall be liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 50 cedis or to imprisonment not exceeding 3 months or to both.
The Director General of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, GBC, Professor Amin Al-Hassan, says the corporation is in phase 2 of its vision to transform from bureaucracy to business. The agenda is to generate substantial funds internally to invest in the corporation's operations. Management has therefore decided to make GTV Sports Plus and the Lifestyles channels on GBC digital platform full commercial channels for the purpose. He says this decision is within GBC's legal mandate to commercialize part of its operations alongside its public service role. Professor Amin Al-Hassan was speaking in Kumasi at the official opening of this year's meeting of the Divisional Executive Committee of the Public Service Workers Union.
The two-day meeting of the Divisional Executives Committee of the GBC's Division of the Public Services Workers Union has participation from the divisional executives and the regional chairmen or their representatives. It enables union executives to take stock of activities of the divisional union over the past year, plan for the rest of this year, and discuss issues affecting staff and union management relations, after which a resolution is to be passed for the attention and consideration of all the stakeholders to improve the working environment and productivity at GBC. The divisional chairman of the union, Mr. Samnat Kevo, said the meeting will advance the cause of cordial working relations among the union and management for better work output.
All of you will be bringing the regional reports, activities report, so to speak, and it will culminate into a resolution, a communicate to management how we as a union and management to collaborate in the development and the growth of the organization.
The General Secretary of the PSWU, Mr. Bernard J., commended GBC's management for the transformation agenda to improve internally generated revenue, to invest in the corporation and welfare of the staff. He called for improved mutual trust and respect among all the stakeholders for a harmonious working environment.
We are ready to cooperate with you, work with you to make sure that we improve on our engagement on the various issues that are confronting you.
The Director General of the GBC, Professor Amin Al-Hassan, expressed satisfaction with the outcome of the first phase of the new direction to transform the corporation from bureaucracy to business. He said the second phase, which starts this year, involves the setting aside of both GTV Sports Plus and Lifestyle TV channels on GBC's digital platforms as the commercial channels of the corporation in line with the corporation's legal mandate.
For this year, we are going to launch a second phase of this transformation, which is now to really consolidate the transformation from bureaucracy to business. We are singling out GBC Sports Plus and the LSTV channel, which you are aware, until we launched the bureaucracy to business, was called GTV Live, a channel that nobody watched. Boring. Today, Ghanaian youth are happy to watch lifestyle TV. They don't even know it's GBC, and they're happy to watch it. And that's the whole idea. We just want their eyeballs. You don't have to know whether GBC or not. But once you get your eyeballs, we'll monetize it.
The Director General reminded the staff that their primary responsibility is to the corporation and warned that henceforth management will sanction any unionist who hides behind the union to check their official duties. Management is, however, ready to work closely with the union to ensure a congenial and harmonious working environment for improved product.
The Minister for Water Resources and Sanitation, Madam Cecilia Dapar, is confident that Ghana is on course with managing waste and open defecation. On a working visit to the Accra Compost and Recycling Plant, the Minister said data from the Ghana Statistical Services 2021 census points to an improved sanitation situation, and her ministry is staying the course with its partnership with the private sector to completely deal with issues of sanitation.
The Accra Compost and Recycling Plant is an integrated waste processing and recycling company. The facility recycles solid and liquid waste into organic compost. It has the capacity to recycle 1,200 tons of municipal solid waste, process 50 tons of refuse-derived fuel, and produce 100 tons of compost. The Minister's visit is part of a quarterly visit to sanitation management facilities in the country to inspect the waste recycling process. The facility has a 1,000 cubic meter wastewater treatment plant that takes care of waste in Ajen Kotoku and its surrounding areas in Sawum and Ibri. The Managing Director of the Accra Compost and Recycling Plant, Mr. Michael Padituo, said the plant has increased its capacity to recycle more waste.
We have just increased the capacity from the 600 tons in a shift to 1,200, 1,400 in a shift. What it means is that more waste now will not go into the landfill, but more waste will be coming here for recovery. What it also means is that we are also going to add more value to the products that are either to go into the landfill. Now we're going to have more recovered materials for our local industries.
The Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, Madam Cecilia Dapar, commended the Accra Compost and Recycling Plant and work in progress to start 16 recycling plants across the country to deal with sanitation in the regions.
In the regions, we all go through the principal streets. We see heaps and heaps and heaps of refuse. We still are doing sensitization and education that the organic can be buried for compost and the inorganic transported to these recycling plants. We have had an extensive discussion both with the local government minister and the private interest groups to make sure that the gap of transporting the waste from the source to the plant is filled.
The minister said the ministry is decommissioning and re-engineering landfill sites across the country to improve on sanitation countrywide.
We now go to the western region, and a rainstorm on Friday across some parts of the country also affected the temporary relief camp at Apiate. The community recently flattened by an explosion. Strong winds accompanying the downpour brought many of the tents in the camp down.
Minutes after the rains paused, relief and household items belonging to the residents who are already reeling from the loss of loved ones and property were at the mercy of the weather, drenched. GBC News sources said there are efforts by the regional office of the National Disaster Management Organization to offer immediate assistance to the residents as they attempt to salvage what they can of their belongings. The Deputy Municipal NADMO Director, Mr. Louis Afo, said about 50 people were temporarily displaced by the rainstorm.
Tent akasiye beye enum nketewa beye 9 ne others beye nsia bi nom die nso no amma sokra na ohwe machi a uhu se nsie na maso tisisi a me no kase let us nsie na ye twen nti ama ye bo sadan kokuro yisini ehu behia se ye betum bikan tentem pa na se kapentafo no wahi omu wahi omutum kamra nyenhyase modan si nyenhyase pa abatan ne manefo nko sadan ni.
At the time of this report, it was unclear where the affected residents will be seeking shelter, but they say it is a clear indication of the need to expedite reconstruction efforts for the Apiate community.
The remains of Hajia Ramatu Aliyu Mahama, wife of former Vice President Alhaji Aliyu Mahama, would be interred on Saturday, April 9, 2022 by Islamic traditions. Hajia Ramatu would be buried beside her husband at a private cemetery close to the couple's residence at Kalpohin last stop in the Sagnerigu municipality. She passed on at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital on Thursday. Hajia Ramatu Mahama had been suffering from a heart-related illness for a while and had been to the United Kingdom for treatment. She is the daughter of the late Alhaji Imoro Igala, a minister for trade and industry and first black chairman of Cocoa in the First Republic and a long-standing political stalwart in Ghana through to the Third Republic, and was also a founder of the PNP, now PNC. Before her passing, Hajia Ramatu was the proprietor of Rahma Foundation School Complex in Tamale. She was 70.
You're watching News Live on GBC News and on GT. Also, streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. We'll be back shortly. Please stay.
In your persistence, that's the way you
MTN. An agreement between the governments of the Swiss Confederation and Ghana to build capacity for a more responsive, effective and efficient local governance pilot project has been initialed in Accra. The 3.2 million cedi one-year funded project will improve on the technical and administrative capacities of local authorities to implement the decisions of metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies, MMDAs.
The development cooperation between Ghana and Switzerland has existed for over 2 decades. Switzerland is a highly decentralized country, and its commitment to decentralization is to give power directly to the people to decide on things that affect their lives. The plan of the new pilot project is to demonstrate how to transform capacity building for effective and efficient local governance. As part of the agreement, the Institute of Local Government Studies, ILGS, with support of the Swiss State Secretariat for Economic Affairs, SECO, will pilot 4 key capacity building interventions. These are building the professionalism of local government service, developing the competencies and building the organizational culture of local governments, and promoting effective social accountability mechanisms. They will be piloted in 40 MMDAs. Switzerland's ambassador to Ghana, Mr. Philippe Stauder, said the 3.2 million cedis is for the ILGS to strengthen the skills of the local government officials.
There are elements of the pilot project that can also make a tremendous impact on our policy dialogue. I do hope that 1 year later, the lessons from this project will be overwhelmingly positive for Ghana and for Switzerland in order to incorporate into the new operation of our DBS support.
The director of ILGS, Mr. Nicholas Awochi, said as the host of the project, the institute has developed comparative strengths in learning, research and training programs. Currently, he says, innovative approaches to strengthen the link between training and staff organizational performance are being developed. The Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, Mr. Dan Botri, said the signing complements measures ongoing in the area of capacity building of MMDAs.
It will provide a new thinking on how capacity building of local government can make an impact. First, the competency-based scheme of service training should enable staff to apply new knowledge, skills, and attitudes towards achieving their mandates and contribute to the profession of the local government staff.
The selection of the 40 pilot MMDAs would be a representation of the diverse local government landscape of the country, including urban and rural settlements from all the 16 regions.
The Ghana Revenue Authority GRA has announced May 1, 2022 as the implementation date for the Electronic Transaction Levy, E-Levy. The E-Levy, which is expected to impose 1.5% on all electronic transfers from May Day, will affect electronic transfer at the time of transfer. The levy will apply to mobile money transfers done between accounts on the same electronic money issuer and mobile money transfers from an account on one electronic money issuer to a recipient on another electronic money issuer. Others are transfers from bank accounts to mobile money accounts and transfers from mobile money accounts to bank accounts. The rates would apply to electronic transactions that are more than 100 Ghana cedis daily. The e-levy was introduced by the government in the 2022 budget on basic transactions related to digital payments and electronic platform transactions. The Indian business community in Ghana and the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, have held a forum to discuss measures needed to propel the development of Ghana's manufacturing sector. At the forum in Accra, the president of AGI, Dr. Humphrey Eyim Dake, and the Indian High Commissioner to Ghana, Sugand Rajaram, called for value addition to raw materials from Ghana in order to attract a premium price on the international market.
In my visits to the regions where the cashew is produced, particularly when I visit Bono East, Ahafo, I'll soon be visiting Bono, I saw number of efforts being undertaken by the Indian businesses to explore the possibility to do value addition locally. And in fact, I was told by some of the businesses that in the years to come, there will be factories set up by the Indian businesses for pre-processing towards value addition of these products.
So you realize that most of our cashew export goes to India, but most of them are exported in its raw state. We are challenging our friends from India that for them, as they stay and live and have their business in Ghana, they should focus on processing the cashew nuts before they export. And therefore, we are calling on government to put in tax measures that will be a disincentive to exporting raw cashew. There should be tax waivers on rather exporting finished cashew bagged, well canned, well packaged into India. And that can be extended to other primary products, agri-primary products, even pineapple, yam. When you're exporting them, you should pay punitive measure for export of the raw rice. If you process it and you want to export it, it should be cheaper rather.
Now let's look at dynamics on the interbank and commodities market. And that was the business news brought to you by Quick Credit and MTN.
The energy segment with Mabel Anang. To our first story, the Ministry of Energy has refuted claims by former Minister for Power, Dr. Kwabena Donkor, that the country could return to the days of prolonged power cuts if urgent steps are not taken to address the country's generation capacity. The ministry's response was made known in a statement.
The Energy Ministry said power cuts referred to as doomsday that plagued the country in the past was never about generational capacity, but rather due to poor hydrology, drafting of hydro dams, inadequate fuel supply to thermal plants, and financial challenges. The statement said in addressing the issue of poor hydrology, there is currently prudent management of hydro resources, which includes the hybridization of Ghana's hydro dams. The statement added that gas flow is no longer unidirectional, as there is reverse flow of indigenous natural gas from the west to the east to power turbines. On the issue of generation capacity, the ministry noted that government has added 204 megawatts to Amandi, 50 megawatts to Bui Solar, and 17 megawatts to VRA Kaleo solar plants. The statement assured Ghanaians that the ministry remains committed to solving every challenge in the generation, transmission and distribution system of the power sector.
Also, the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, says power outages on its distribution networks are inevitable and customers should bear with the company as it steps up efforts to provide reliable power. Project manager of ECG, Mr. Bernard Owusu Dankwa, spoke to GBC News.
Many ways that outages can come about in the power system. For ECG, key of them, we have categorized them. So we have the planned outages, we have an unplanned outages. So the planned outages are the ones that we have put plans to it. So we will communicate to the customers that at this time power will go off so we can do some work or we can maintain our equipment. And the unplanned ones are usually the ones that happen as a result of maybe some force majeures, like lightning, or there's some shortages of power at the upstream side, grid via regeneration shortfalls. Or in some instances, we have outages due to accidents or vandalism. So these ones are unplanned, or maybe an equipment failure, and we don't plan for them, they happen. Outages in the power system are inevitable. So once they happen, then we make the necessary effort to maintain and
To some more news, the policy lead for petroleum and conventional energy with African Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, Mr. Kojo Yauche, said the absence of a functioning refinery is a bane to developing the country's downstream petroleum sector. He said for the upstream sector to be fully linked to the downstream, the government must take the Tema oil refinery viable. Mr. Yauche spoke to GBC News.
Focus of the two sectors serve different purposes. Whilst the downstream sector is concerned with security of fuel for security of supply of fuel for our cars and all processes, the upstream is focused on how do we explore more resources, our resources. How do we get more oil and gas into the system? I think to the extent that there are suggestions that why don't we have some of that oil flowing into the domestic economy, for example, refining some of the oil here. Those are legitimate points that can be raised. But again, which refinery are you going to give that oil to? Is it Tema Oil Refinery? Right, so at least when you sell on the global markets, there's the guarantee that you get the revenues. But is that guarantee there that if the Oil Refinery refines 100 million barrels of oil in a year, for example, you'll be able to get the revenue for the 100 million barrels of oil? Those are some of the dynamics that we need to explore in arriving at an optimal solution for
We bring you the national power generation data.
time for health. Tobingo's premium gift to Africa. Ghana is progressively moving from a vaccine procuring country to a vaccine manufacturing country. As a result of COVID-19, it has improved on the healthcare systems, built capacity and expanded on its infrastructure. These are some identifiable lessons from the past few years since Ghana was struck by the pandemic. These were highlighted at the 2022 World Health Day celebration organized by the German Development Corporation, GIZ, and the Presidential Vaccine Manufacturing Committee. A report by Sarah Furi.
World Health Day focused on the impact of health on the planet. The celebration in Ghana highlighted the impact of COVID-19 on the country. In as much as COVID-19 threatened many economies and lives, it is also said to have presented developing countries especially with the opportunity to build resilient health systems. Interventions deployed by these countries and with the assistance of development partners have led to capacity building and further research. These have also come at a cost. The Emergency Preparedness and Response Officer at the WHO, Dr. Salian Ohene, said a lot can be learned from the pandemic in addressing the environmental impact on health. The Medical Director at the Ghana Infectious Diseases Center, Dr. Oliver Kommer, shared some of his recommendations.
If we want to depend on our health systems here, we need to invest into our health systems. If we are going to depend only on donors to sustain our health system, then we do not have any health system.
The German government, together with the European Union, have rendered their support to Ghana in diverse ways to facilitate Ghana's vaccine manufacturing drive.
We have a financial support for the next 3 years of 5 million euros. And in addition, there is an European Union co-financing arrangement with an amount of 2.84 million euros. And the role is to use these funds to strengthen and to support the committee in several areas, such as strengthening of the workforces, but also the strengthening research and development.
By January 2024, Ghana would have produced vaccines from fill to finish and, in the long run, producing its own drug substance.
The fill and finish is the most difficult part of vaccine production, not the drug substance. The drug substance is just making it bulk, and then the fill and finish, you have to go, you bottle it, make sure it's clean, you make sure there's no particles, you make sure there are no pathogens that will have any effect, and that is where the problem is. And Ghana is putting itself in that way.
It is hoped that the Food and Drugs Authority would be migrated to the WHO Maturity Level 4 by the end of the year to effectively regulate the production of the.
And that's it for Health, brought to you by Lufat, Tobingo's premium gifts to Africa. Jonathan is standing by with international news.